Well, good afternoon again. I'm Richard Norton, CEO. I just want to do a wrap-up and a thank you to everyone that's participated in this virtual conference. It's been a big project to get this virtual conference off the ground, and I'd like to thank our two keynote speakers, Gordon Cairns, Chair of Woolworths, and Dr. Molly Jardine. I'd also like to thank our panellists and presenters. And it would be remiss of me not to thank the Food Agility team, particularly the comms team in Chris, Annika, Kylie and Megs, who have done an outstanding job behind the scenes to get this virtual conference up and running. It's been a real challenge. It's also my pleasure just to take the next 5 minutes to give you some highlights from the conference over the last 2 days. And not necessarily in order of the highlights as they started yesterday, but just some key takeouts, particularly around the viability of our sector, sustainability, global smart farms, growth of ag tech in Australia, and cyber security. The viability of our sector, which was quoted by Matthew Pryor when he spoke about our sector and how well it's going. I think there's close to $6 billion in farm management deposits. I don't think our sector has seen profitability at the levels that it is, particularly through grain and livestock. So this means that the desire for ag tech and innovation to push productivity gains, in my opinion, has never been higher. And as Justin Webb said, it's important that we get this right because those productivity gains are going to have to happen because we're in a pretty noble industry. We're feeding the world. And the question also raised by Justin and the likes of his panel this morning was, what if you're not in agriculture now? And what if you're not in ag tech now as a fund manager? Talk to people that manage your superannuation funds and local government because there's not enough investment in our agriculture and ag tech sector to meet the productivity gains to feed the world. And it is quite simply that simple. Around sustainability, whether you believe in sustainability or not, the messages given to us by Gordon Cairns was customer feedback, our customer feedback. 86% of Woolworths customers expect Woolworths to take the lead. 66% expect transparency from Woolworths. And that's a global trend, and we've seen it through the many examples that we had from global organisations that are leading this space around environmental concerns and around sustainability. We just must simply get our heads around it. But then you have the opportunities in this sector as well, as demonstrated by Tony Marr from National Farmers, that 10% of farm income, or $20 billion in the future, will come from environmental management back to the farm. It's a huge opportunity. And again, I leave sustainability and the question around sustainability as this is simply just our customers speaking and their expectations of us as an industry. The other one around global smart farms. I think livestock's probably covered in Australia, but viticulture, horticulture and broadacre has an opportunity to link with other global smart farms. And I'd simply say that I mentioned this to a fund manager the other day talking about productivity, that a farmer will get up one day and he'll turn a computer on and probably not leave the house all day and he'll harvest a wheat crop or he'll sow that wheat crop. And as far-fetched as that may sound, it happens today in the mining industry. In the mining industry, trucks running around mines and heavy equipment running around mines are managed in the Pilbara from an office in Perth. And it's not unrealistic to think that AI and autonomous vehicles will take us to on-farm productivity gains through less labour and more sensory equipment that will build the data sets that we need to get those productivity gains. And I do a mini call out to anyone that's interested in setting up a global ag tech smart farm here in Australia. Food Agility would love to partner with you. And then we had the pioneers of ag tech present this morning. And they truly are pioneers. They're the ones that are out there, move first, but importantly, as first movers, they're still going today. as ag tech wave started across the globe 3 to 5 years ago, many ag tech companies did not survive COVID. But these companies that presented this morning are still going strong. And my question to anyone that's not in ag tech, particularly fund managers and venture capitalists, is which one of these companies may be the next Bitcoin? And ag tech is probably the only lever we have that gets us to a $100 billion industry as stated as an objective by National Farmers. It is the one lever we can pull and make sure that as an industry we're getting those gains that we need to achieve $100 billion as an industry. And cybersecurity, it's interesting, isn't it, that they're perhaps not thought about to the extent that we should, and around how disruptive cyber attacks can be across the food chain and our value chain. And the example clearly was that wool auctions in Australia closed down for 2 weeks last year from a cyber attack. Food Agility actually worked with Sydney fish markets to build online auctions because of COVID and buyers not being able to attend fish markets. But risk management's been a part of corporate language now for many a decade. But yet we still, to quote Molly today, do not often understand the consequences, the unintended consequences that are foreseeable. And directors have a responsibility now, clear responsibility to manage data and keep data secure within their environments. We heard other terms from Molly around red teaming, attacking your own systems, and black swanning. It could happen. An unforeseeable consequence that probably might happen to your industry, and then once it happens, it wasn't unforeseeable. But we must digitise our supply chains, but do so under the risk environment of understanding those risks. And as an industry, we still have huge productivity gains in understanding the data within our industry, particularly around water usage and availability, production yields, harvest yields, and financial data that's readily available to benchmark productivity through Australia. These data sets will help us become a more productive industry. You also saw, as the last presentation, our showcases and what Food Agility's been doing in our industry. And I hope you have time to go through those projects and see what has been delivered from Food Agility. We also had a wonderful set of postgraduates and postgraduates that showcased what they're doing in AgTech Alley. One of the proudest things that Food Agility does is support our PhD students. But if you missed any of that or any of the content over the last 2 days, I encourage you to go online, back into the portal, where all the presentations will be available again over the next 12 months. So that's the wrap-up. A big thanks again to the Food Agility team and everyone that's made it possible to put this virtual conference on. It's been an experience. At times we've had hitches through the system, but generally speaking, it's been very well done and a really professional virtual event. I hope I never have to do another one again, and I hope that all events for Food Agility or any conferences I have to do in the future are all live and with you in the room. So thank you for taking the time to listen over the last 2 days, and I hope that you really did get a lot out of the conference because we've enjoyed bringing it to you. So once again, thank you very much for your time.